Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? I'm currently sitting in a parking lot right now. I was listening to my audiobook, so I thought, well, I'm gonna pull over, put my hat back on, so I look halfway decent. Put a little lip balm on. Need a little more. I like this lip balm, but it's like hard to get out of the thing. Oh my Lord. Should we go? Anyway, what did you do today, Peter? Well, thank you for asking what I did today. What is today? Monday. I got up today and did some stuff around the house. And then, you know, just like menial little things around the house that I had to do. And then I went to my training appointment. My personal trainer. He's so fantastic. I love him. And had a good training session. I'm having another one. I don't know why this is like not showing me completely all the way, but I have another one on Thursday because we've missed some because of me being out of town and him being sick. So what is going on? Like usually it shows me all the way, but tonight it's not doing that. Does it really matter? I don't know. I mean, yeah, kind of. Like, who wants to look at a screen of my neck? Probably nobody. But anyway, I was kind of thinking that I wanted a Diet Coke, so I might go through McDonald's. But, yeah, so I have another appointment on Thursday with him, and I have no idea how long this vlog is going to be. I was going to say this vlog is going to be short, but I say that, and then it's like 50 minutes long. So, and a lot of people were cracking up in the comment sections about it, so thank you. So yeah, I have another appointment on Thursday. He's just so good, and today, it's interesting, you know, like doing this because, I mean, I've known a lot of people that have had personal trainers and stuff before, and they really love it, and they benefit from it, but the thing is that when you see people working with personal trainers, like, or if you've had one, you'll know what I'm talking about, or if you are one, God bless you, because the patience you have to work with people like me. But the stuff they have you do does not look hard whatsoever until you're actually doing it. And he had me like doing this thing today where I was like doing these leg lifts, but I had to do them really slow. And I mean, I was like, it looked so easy when he did it. And then I was like, into like my third one, and I was like, oh my God. And then he had me do these things where I was like, on my hands and knees, and then I had to like go like this. It's apparently to work on my core is what he said. I was telling Alex that tonight at dinner, and he goes, oh yeah, to strengthen your core. I was like, that's what he said. He goes, well, don't you know that? I go, no. I don't know that I even know what my core is. So anyway, but those were really, really tough as well. And just the stuff, it's just not easy, you know? And it's not like my training sessions are long. I mean, they're a half an hour. We sometimes go 45 minutes, but today was a little bit longer. But I always leave there and I'm just like wrecked. I'm like, and today it was funny because I was coming in the house and I let the dogs out and I was like going upstairs and I was kind of like running up the stairs and I was like a couple stairs in and all of a sudden it felt like my leg was gonna, like, it was just like real weak, like it was gonna give out from like, you know, working out. But he's such a nice guy. He's so fantastic. And, you know, I think it's interesting, like, with trainers and things like that, it's like hairstylists, I think, are kind of the same way, but, like, differently. I've been going to my hairstylist for a long time now. Not a long, long time. I had the same hairstylist for like 6 years, and then she got pregnant, and when she came back, I had stopped coloring my hair, and she's like a personal friend of mine too, like, so I still see her a lot. She and her husband, we do a lot of stuff with them. So when she came back from maternity leave the first time was when I had let my hair grow out, because that was like right after my wedding. And so I didn't need her to color my hair anymore. and her prices are so much more expensive. So I just go to like a men's specialist and get my hair cut now. And I love who I go to. She's fantastic. And she's really, really good with men's haircuts. But, you know, like I look forward to that. Like, that's something that I enjoy doing, is going to get my hair cut, and I always have a good time with her. And, you know, we talk about some kind of like deep stuff, and yeah, she's really cool. So, and then, like, we talk a lot about like family and just all kinds of stuff, and I don't know, it's just really cool. I love her. But, you know, like, I trust her, and so, like, I'll sit down and she'll be like, well, what do you want to do? And usually I'm just like, do whatever. I just want it, like, you know, trimmed up or cleaned up or whatever. And she was like, okay. And, like, sometimes she'll go shorter than others, and I just totally trust her, you know? And I think the same thing is, like, with a personal trainer. Like, and I won't say I felt that right away. Like, it took me a little bit of time, you know, where I didn't feel like, you know, he was judging me for being overweight or anything like that, you know, which you would think, like, well, why would he be? But you see somebody that's sitting there and he's like 6'3", you know, and he's like in absolutely unbelievable condition, you know, and I don't know, like, I just immediately, like, anytime I see somebody like that, you know what's so funny is, like, during the day, like, he's introduced me to some of the people that work out in the gym, like, some of the people that he knows there and stuff. Like, he's really, like, that guy. He's so friendly. And, you know, these guys that are, like, super cut and in shape, or, you know, like, they're just so friendly to me. They're so nice. And, it makes it a lot more comfortable for me to go there. And it was so funny because there was this girl there today that I think he may have trained at some point, because she kept on coming in. Like, we train in like this separate like little room where there's like, you know, like free weights and the ball and all that kind of stuff and the ropes. And so she kept on coming in there. He was like talking to her for a second, like, while I was doing my exercises, and she was like, I forgot my headphones, or she's like, my headphones just died. And he was like, well, you can go in there and get mine from my office if you want. She was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. So she came back, and y'all know I have kind of sarcastic humor, right? So she was like standing over me while I was doing this exercise, and I had just like finished it, like right as she was standing over there, and he was like showing her how to sync it to her phone. And I said, excuse me, you're interrupting my workout. And she just kind of looked at me for a second, and I said, I would be willing to pay you if you'll continue to do that. And she just started laughing. And so then he introduced us, and she was working out like in the corner, and on like one of those ball things, and she was walking over there. She goes, Peter, just let me know when you need me to interrupt again. And I said, okay. But it's really, like, you know, comfortable and just laid back, and I so trust him that then what he asks me to do, because, you know, like, if you're somebody that's in shape, or you're somebody that doesn't have a hard time working out, like, I don't know that this would make any sense, but, like, in my position where I'm being asked to do things that my body does not want to do, like, honest to God, like, my body doesn't want to do these things, you know, and I'm really challenging myself, and I'm really taking some risks, because it's hard for me, you know, and it's just, you know, it's not even comfortable for me to walk into a gym. I have this friend of mine, I have these two friends of mine that live in a small town in Indianapolis, lesbian couple, and I love them, and I've known them for, God, 20 years now, and yeah, almost 20 years, it's crazy to think, and they've struggled with their weight always, but especially one of them, and these were friends, roommates of my ex, that's how I met them, and he doesn't talk to them anymore at all, and I do, so, but anyway, they were telling me this story because, like, my one friend, every time I talk about him, it's so funny because, like, people that know that town or are from that town, I was in a live stream and somebody said, like, oh my God, I know who you're talking about. It's the Pink Tutu story. If you've ever heard the Pink Tutu story, those are the two girls in it. And whenever I talk about them, somebody always knows them from that town. It's so weird. Like somebody in this vlog is probably watching it and being like, oh my God, where was I when I was talking to somebody, and they're like, my mom knows them or something. I think it was in a live stream, and somebody said, my mom lives in Seymour and knows them. So anyway, but they've struggled with their weight, like, always, like, and my one friend was super, super heavy, And then when I met her, she had lost a ton of weight, because my ex had too. And then they both, like, gained a lot of weight back. And so, like, probably 4 or 5 years ago, she was at, like, the heaviest she's ever been in her entire life. Like, huge. And, so she really wanted to join a gym, but she was embarrassed. This story is so cute. So I had met up with them, I don't know, God, it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I met up with them, and like we went out and had lunch. I drove down there, and they were telling me this story, and like, she is so in shape now, okay? Like, you would never guess that this was the case, that she was heavy and all this kind of stuff, and she is so in shape now. And I should tell the Pink Tutu story on here. I haven't told it. Like, nobody goes and watches that video, so it's like safe. I should tell it, and then you guys can go watch the video. But so anyway, I was like, girl, you look incredible. And like, on Facebook, I would always see that she was like always checking into the gym and into the gym. I think she works out at Anytime Fitness, actually, like I do. And she was always at the gym. And like, when I met up with them, she had like sports outfit on, kind of. And I said, what happened? Like, how did you get to that point? That same pothole every day. Like, I would be terrified to hit that pothole. And she was like, okay, so she was like, I really wanted to join a gym. And so one day we went to the gym, and they were 24 hours. So this is the fat trick. Like, I did the same thing. Like, this is how I felt as like, I don't see the word, honestly, if I use it about myself offensively. So I know if some people do, I apologize. But for me, I mean, I call myself fat. So it's me, my stuff. But, this is a trick, is like, when you're heavier, like, for a lot of people I've talked to that feel this way, when you're bigger, it's like, you don't want to work out with a bunch of other people, so you want to work at a gym that has 24 hours so that you can go in there late when there aren't a lot of people there. It's kind of like a trick, right? So, like wearing all black always and things like that. It's not a mistake, okay? So anyway, and it's sad when you live like that, kind of. And I've really, like, the last couple years worked on body, like, acceptance, but the same thing is at, like, I've talked about this on here, like, I don't want to become too accepting of my body, because I want to change my body, Anyway, so she was sitting in the car, and she told her wife, she said, did I say girlfriend? She said wife, they're married. So anyway, actually, when I met them, they got married, like a week after I met them. Like, we went down there for, like, the rehearsal dinner, and then, like, that was when I met them, and then they got married, like, a week later in this old house. It was, like, the first time I spent a whole lot of time with them, and they're, like, now 2 of my, like, dearest friends of life, like, dear friends. And, so anyway, she was like, well, we were, like, sitting in the parking lot, and I wouldn't get out and go in, because it was, like, the middle of the day, and, like, we had to go there in the middle of the day to get the gym membership, but I wasn't going to go in. And so she was like, I made her go in, so she made her wife go inside. And they gave her wife the tour, and her wife's real ballsy, like, she just doesn't give a shit, right? So she's in there, and so she gives her wife the tour, they give her wife the tour, and she, like, walks around, and she's looking at everything, and she's, like, in there forever, and, like, my friend is pissed, because she's like, what is taking her so long? Just assuming that she would just, like, go in there and, like, sign up, and that would be it, right? But they're, like, talking to her, and they're like, well, why won't your wife come in here? And she's like, she's overweight, she's real heavy, and she's embarrassed, and whatever, and they're like, well, go out there and tell her that she can't sign up for a gym membership until she comes in, right? And, so my friend went, like, out to the car, and she told her, she said, they said that we can't sign up for a gym membership unless you come in too. And she's like, well, I'm not coming in, I'm not going in there, so you go in there and tell them that if they want our money, like they care, right? She's like, so you go in there and you tell them that if they want our money, that they'll sign us up anyway. So she goes back in there, and she's like, tells them that, and you would have to know my friends, because this is so funny, right? And so my friend goes, I have to say my friend, her wife, my friend. But anyway, so my friend goes in there, and she's, like, laughing, and she's like, she won't come in here. And she said that, what she said was that, like, if you want our money, and they're, like, laughing, right? And they're like, well, what can we do to get her in here? And she's like, I don't know. Because they, like, wanted to make her feel comfortable. They wanted to, like, show her the gym and, like, what she could use and how to use it and stuff like that, right? And so my friend goes back out to the car, and she's like, They said they won't sign us up and they don't care about the money. My friend is sitting there and she's like pissed, right? And she goes, well, then I'm not going in there and I don't want to get a gym membership. And so her wife goes, that's fine, but I'm going to sign up and get a gym membership. And she goes, well, what do you mean? You're going to do it without me? And she goes, yeah, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to sign up for a gym membership. And if you want to come in, you can come in. And if you don't, then forget it. And so she's like sitting there for a second. She's like, okay, fine, I'll come in. So she goes into the gym and she's like standing there and she's real embarrassed. You know, and you have to think about like, you know, we have all these emotions and these feelings attached to like body image and things we've gone through in our life. And, you know, it's hard. Like that stuff's hard. Like I don't like walking into a gym during the middle of the day. It's a lot for me to even just go into my gym in the middle of the day and to sit down there and work out with a trainer with people walking in and out. Like that is really hard. And like, so it's not just to me about getting a trainer. It's not just to me about like showing up for the appointments. It's about the fact that like I'm actually like stepping outside of my comfort zone, hugely stepping outside of my comfort zone to sit there. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but to me it is, and that's all that matters. And, you know, to sit there and work out with people actually watching me, like that's not comfortable for me, you know? But I've learned that I only grow when I'm uncomfortable in situations. You know, I don't grow when I'm just always comfortable about things. So, but anyway, so she goes in and they like show her the gym and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, you know, we want to sign you up for personal training appointments, the same thing. And she's like, no. And she kept on saying no. And so finally, somehow they get her to sign up for one and she's got to do it. But like she said, the guy would have to meet her there late because she's not going to come during the middle of the day when there's a lot of people there or something like that. So she told me, she said, you know, like I would meet with this guy and we would like go in the back room and I made him close the door so that nobody could come in and stuff like that. And she started working out. She said that, you know, he said that she could do all of her exercises in that back room and that anything that she wanted to take, like the free weights or whatever, she could take them and put them in that back room and work out, and that she could control like the lights and all that stuff in there. So she legit for like 6 months would like, she was laughing so hard when she was telling this story. She was like, I would literally like walk in and just like go straight to the back room. Like I would just walk straight into the back room, like while her wife was like walking on the treadmill, you know? She'd just go straight to that room, close the door, like take weights in, and then she would like turn the lights down. And they would go there at night, right? And she was like, until I started feeling more comfortable and safer and, you know, and then she talked about how like food was like a huge part of it. It was like she had to change all of her food and all this kind of stuff, you know, which is huge. And I remember I looked at her, I mean, she had lost a good, like, at that point, like, probably a good, like, 150 pounds, honestly. Like, and it was in shape, like, and I said, well, do you still go back and work out in that? Because I relate to that, like, you know, not wanting anybody to be watching me while I work out. And I said, do you still work out in that back room? And she goes, oh, no, now I just go in and I'm like, hey, how are you? And like, I know everybody that works out in the gym. And she's like, yeah, I love it. She goes, I go there every day. I go, you go every day? She goes, I go every day. And I work out for an hour and a half every day. We go, you know, together. And she's like, I love it. And, you know, I think like when we look at that, it's about the gym and it's about, you know, weight and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's about overcoming our fears. You know, it's like the Karate Kid movie. It's like, you know, like the wax on, wax off. Well, you're learning wax on, wax off, but you're also learning, you know, karate. It's like the same thing. Like there are so many lessons in life that, you know, we're learning things about what we're learning, but we're actually learning bigger lessons as well, like overcoming our fears. I love them so much. So yeah, so I had my training appointment today. And I just feel real blessed to have him. He's just as awesome. And he watches this vlog sometimes. So, hey. And then I went and got my coffee at Starbucks. I was like sitting there laying on my back and I go, I need a coffee so bad. And he goes, for the taste or for the energy? And I go, I don't know. I go, I get an iced coffee, so it's not like the taste is great. And he goes, well, do you ever just have like revelations about things? And he goes, I love just, you know, black coffee. I think it tastes great. And I go, yeah, you're kind of right. Like I kind of do just like black coffee. I do, you know, like I never really, like, I mean, I guess I knew that. I drink it every day, right? But like, it was just a funny, like, I don't know, stupid revelation. So anyway, I left there. I got my coffee at Starbucks. What did I do after that? like 2-ish. Came home, let the dogs outside. It was really cold in Indianapolis today, so they could only like be outside for a little bit. Little Pee-Pee's paws were so, they were like shaking when he came in, and I was like holding him, and I was like warming him up with a towel because he likes that. And then I put him back into bed and cozied him up with blankets and made him real cozy. And Boo Radley was just rambunctious today. He was crazy, dog. He was so funny. He's got some kind of like croup cough or something. I don't know what it is. And so I'm gonna call the vet tomorrow and see if I can get an appointment to get him in. Tanya's supposed to leave for Florida tomorrow to go visit her son. I feel so bad for her, and I texted her tonight, and I was like, what time do you guys leave tomorrow? Are you still, you know, like, what's going on or whatever? And, well, I texted her, I was like, are you packed? Do you want to get a fountain Coke? And she was like, no, I just got home, and I'm from the doctor, I'm sick, and she's like this really high temperature and a double ear infection. I was like, I felt so bad. She's so looking forward to this trip. And I said, well, are you still going? And she's like, we're going to try. And I said, well, maybe you'll feel better in the morning. I don't know. I just feel so bad for her. You know, you get excited about something, then to wake up the day before and just be that sick is horrible, you know? So, yeah, then I came home and I took a shower. And then somebody sent me, I can't remember who, and I apologize, but somebody sent me the Lush Cinder Bath and Body Wash, and I have like 5 Bath and Body Wash. I have like 5 shower gels, and from Lush, and I'm trying to like use the ones that are lower, and so like that's not one of them that I use. I have like 3 now that are like fuller, but I wouldn't say they're my favorite. Like the Olive Branch one, I don't love, and then there's another one. I can't remember what it's called, but it smells like toothpaste, and I really don't love that one. But the Cinder one, I'd used it like 2 or 3 times, and I used it today, and I loved it. I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. I really, really like this. So I did that, and then I filmed 2 videos. I wanted to film videos on all my channels, but we had our marriage counseling session at 6 tonight, and I was kind of running a little bit late, and I didn't want to be late to our appointment. So I got done with all of my videos, with those 2 videos at like 5, and they were like almost done, ready to upload. So I fed the dogs, and then I changed, and I just didn't want to push it. You know, like, I always think I have more time than I do. Like, I don't know if you're like this at all, but like I make jokes about being late, but I'm not really ever like that late. Like, I'm always like somewhere like 2 to 5 minutes late, but I don't like being late, and so I'm trying to really work on that. And so, like, let's say if it's like 5 o'clock and I have to leave at 5:30, before I would like start at 5:20, I would start getting ready and like throwing on an outfit, putting the dogs away and stuff like that. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to, like, if it's 5 o'clock, just start then. Just end what you're doing, Peter, and whatever. Because I could have made a Peterisms video and got that uploaded. I just thought, you know what? Be on time, be relaxed, be calm on your drive there, listen to some music, listen to your audiobook and enjoy it, you know? And that's what I did. And we had it just stopped. I didn't know I was at the end. Okay. We had a really great marriage counseling session today. We're coming up on our 2 years of starting our counseling sessions. We started, I don't know the exact date, but he could have looked it up for us, I guess, but we didn't ask. I think it was after we got back from Ultra Music Festival 2 years ago. And so I said to him today, because we're going to meet, like, before we go, and I said, could we do, like, our next appointment, like, talking about, like, the last 2 years and, like, the successes we've had? He's like, yeah, I think that would be great. So he goes, I want you guys to start thinking about, like, all the successes that you've had and whatever. It's really weird, like, when we go there, like, it's just so good, and he is so fantastic that he, like, really challenges us, both of us, on things, you know, and, like, well, could you say this in a different way? Or, you know, like, when this happens, could you do that? I mean, he's just so fantastic and has taught us so much about, like, I mean, this word that we throw around, this like communication, you know, like, communication patterns, we need to communicate better and all that stuff. Okay, like, I feel like that's just like a coverall kind of for, we don't really know what it means in relationships sometimes, and I think that Alex and I have a really good idea of what that means today, of like really listening to each other. We talked a lot today about meeting each other emotionally where we're at. Like, that was a big part of what we talked about today, if Alex has had something happen, like he's real let down about something, like, instead of me just sitting there and listening to him, and this is like, a lot of what we've done in like our sessions, like recently, is talking about meeting each other where we're at emotionally. So like, if Alex has had a really bad day, right? Instead of me just sitting there listening and being like, I'm really sorry, what can I do? But like, kind of getting on that level where he's at, where he's like emotional, and like, maybe I share something with him, of like what I've gone through recently with something like that, or just that day. And, if we're both like happy and he's sharing something really great that happened, then me as well. And not to say that we wouldn't listen to the other person, but like to meet ourselves more emotionally, like where we're at. And then we were like, kind of did some like role playing and like practice in there. It was great. But sometimes it's interesting, like we leave there, it's an hour session and we leave there and it's like, I feel like not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like, I feel like, like I just ran a marathon and we went out to dinner tonight afterwards. Like, often, a couple times we've gone out with Melissa and Jason afterwards, and Melissa and Jason, I don't talk about this a lot on here, but as a couple that I really admire and respect, and a couple that Alex really admires and respects, like, they've been really good for us, because we, like, you guys know, because I talk about them on here a lot, they're a couple that we do so much stuff with, and I think it's really important to have, if you're a couple, to have couples that you do things with that have the morals and, the relationship that you admire and that you want. I mean, I think it's important to be around people like that, you know what I mean? Like, and they've been so fantastic for us, and they're super invested in our marriage, and we're super invested in theirs, so it's just, I don't know, I love them. And but anyway, we always do something typically after marriage counseling, but tonight we just went out to dinner, the two of us, to Cheesecake Factory, and it was packed. So we sat in the bar at a little round table. It was cute, like it was just like dark in there, and it was just fun. And it was so cold outside that and we drove, because I meet him there, because he gets off work, and then I meet him over there. And so he was like sitting there when I got in, because he got there before me. And I don't know, it was just like, I sat down and we were talking and stuff, and I said, what did you think of the session tonight? And he was like, I thought it was great. He was like, I thought it was I said, I did too. I thought it was such a great session. And there's just something about looking across the table at your husband, and being like, I am so in love with this man. And being able to say that at like going on 11 years, it's like, I don't know, to feel closer to him now than I felt 11 years ago is pretty powerful. Relationships are not easy. Marriage is not easy. I wish more people would get in counseling, I just think, even if you don't have tons of, tough stuff going on, I mean, where we were when we started counseling and where we're at now are two completely different things. And honestly, I mean, there are sometimes that we go in there, like today was a good example of that I was like, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. Like, he'll say, like, what do you guys want to talk about today, And I'm like, well, I don't really have anything to talk about. And Alex will be like, yeah, I don't really have anything either. And then we'll just kind of start with something, and then it like blossoms into this like conversation. And then our counselor is so good with like, sitting there and letting us talk for a little bit, and then like kind of taking it into a certain direction of where he thinks that we should work on. And I have to say that, like, in looking back on our relationship, like, or counseling, like, one of the things, like, if I had to talk about like, I haven't talked about it that much on here recently, but if I had to talk about some of the things that I learned in there that have been the most helpful to our relationship, I would say the 12 forms of intimacy was huge. And I used to talk about that on here all the time, you know, that we talk about intimacy and we talk about, like, I think immediately we go to, like, sex and physical intimacy, but that's actually only one form of intimacy. You know, there's recreational intimacy, there's spiritual intimacy, there's family intimacy, there's, I can't remember all of them. Intellectual intimacy, you know, financial intimacy, and there's all these different ways. And the idea is that you tap into all of these and you have as many forms of intimacy as you possibly can in a relationship, you know, to really build and strengthen these ties that you have. Because the more that you have, the harder it is to, like, break those down, you know, and things like that. And I look at that and I think, it's just really true, you know, in, like, the things that we've worked on. And I think, like, one of the biggest things we've really worked on is financial intimacy. You know, like, because of our past histories and relationships, Alex and I mean, we, like, split the bills and things like that. But other than that, like, he kind of does what he wants to do with his money and I do with what I want to do with my money, you know, and that's worked for us. It really has. But as far as having, like, financial conversations about, like, we're just not, like, you know, I mean, we talk about retirement, we talk about, you know, all the things that other, you know, married folk talk about. But, like, as far as, like, I don't know, having conversations about money, like, we aren't good at that. Like, well, we're better now, but, like, we weren't good at it. Like, we just wouldn't have a conversation, you know, like, and, like, often if it was something that, like, Alex wanted to do, and, like, we would start to have a conversation, and then we would both be, like, worried, like, well, maybe we don't have the money. Like, I would just surprise him and, like, you know, go schedule the trip, and then, like, he'd come home, or I'd text him and be like, guess what? Like, we're going, you know, to the Dominican Republic, and, you know, like, and that was kind of, like, how we did it, you know. And we've learned so much about, like, sitting down and actually having conversations about money and how to help each other and aid each other with conversations where we're building up each other up, you know, from that. I think the other thing is, too, you know, it's like, you know, Alex and I are, like, very independent when it comes to those kinds of things, like decisions and stuff. And so I think it was important for us within the confines of our relationship to, like, and Tanya and her husband are very much like this. And, you know, the way that they have their financial setup is almost identical to how we have ours, because I asked Tanya at the time, I said, like, what should we do, you know? The situation with my ex financially was not good. It just wasn't. And I got screwed. And I wouldn't say I'm resentful of that today. I understand why it happened, but, you know, it was hard. It was really hard for me, you know. I think in the aftermath, it was hard. And so I was like, I went into this relationship being, like, very protected. I mean, this is what we talk about baggage. Like, this is baggage, right? But, like, I didn't want to have it. Like, I didn't want to, like, you know, have Alex suffer for things that had happened in a previous relationship. But at the same time, you know, he had things that had happened in a previous relationship financially. So we were kind of on the same board, you know, and I'd asked Tanya, and Tanya's like, well, I have, you know, we have a joint account, and then, like, he has his account and I have my account, and the things we want to spend it. And that's kind of how we do it, you know, like, and that works for us. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, major purchases or trips or things like that, you know, like actually sitting down and saying, okay, what is our budget to travel this year? You know, like, this is how much money we can spend to travel, or this is how much money we can do this, and actually having, like, really thought-provoking conversations, and then actually turning it into something fun as well, you know, like, okay, so if this is what we have, well, we can't go do this, but we can go do that. Oh, that's a good idea, let's go do that, you know, and being open to the conversation. And I think, like, when we talk about communication, you know, so much of communication is listening to the other person, true, like, we talk about that, but I think communication is really working together, listening actively, but then responding actively as well, you know, and, you know, really working together to make that conversation happen. And I don't know, I just feel like counseling has been invaluable to us. Absolutely invaluable to us. And I mean, we spent a lot of money on it, you know? I mean, we go every other week minimum now, and then we book appointments in between, you know, for ourselves. So, I mean, we're probably spending a minimum of like, and that's $100 a session. So we're $95, but we're probably spending a minimum of like $4,000 on it, and it's invaluable. I mean, it's absolutely invaluable, you know? And I don't know that I ever would have said that a long time ago, you know, even being a counselor and working in the field. I don't know that I would have ever said that, like, for myself. I mean, even though I had gone to counselors myself and whatever, I don't know as far as a relationship thing, like, I would have ever said, like, okay, like that. Like, to the point where today, like we walk into a session, it's like we don't really feel like we have anything that we need to talk about, but then we leave the session and we're like, oh my God, that was a powerful session. Like, that was really good. Like, we needed that, right? And that was because we have such a great counselor too. Like, I think, you know, he really knows how to lead that conversation. And I think it's about finding the right person, you know. And I remember, like, when we went into doing this, I said to Alex, I said, you find the person, like, you know, like, you find him, then I trust you, but he has to know the language of recovery. Like, he has to be able to speak my language, because I don't want to go in with somebody that doesn't understand addiction and recovery. Like, that's too important to me, you know. It is the language I speak about everything, of how I respond to anger and resentments, and, you know, how I take inventory of my life and whatever. So if I'm sitting in a room that somebody's supposed to help me with my marriage and my life, and they don't understand that, like, that's not somebody I want to go to. Well, he understands it. Like, he gets it. And, so yeah, I mean, it's just been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. He's funny too. So he's 2 little kids. Okay, he's married and has 2 little kids. And he's into this thing where, like, okay, his son is like, I think like a year old, and his daughter's like 4 or 5. I think like 4, almost 5. And so he does like a story with her every night before he goes to bed. And apparently they switch back and forth, like, he and his wife. This is so cute, you guys. So they switch back and forth. Like, one night he'll do it, and like the next night, like, his wife will do it. So he, like, makes these stories up, right? And I'm like, because you guys know I love stories, because I, you know, write and I read and stuff. And so I was like, one day I was in there and I was like, I said something to him about, I go, are you tired tonight or something? He goes, yeah. He goes, I was up late last night with my daughter, and, you know, I do this story. He was telling us about it, and we thought it was so cute, you know? And so anyway, he was like, I go, well, what kind of stories do you, like, read to her? I said, my mom used to always read me. He's like, no, we make up stories. Like, I make them up as I go. And I go, well, how do you decide, like, what you make your story about? And he goes, well, it just kind of depends. He goes, I try to, like, do it around, okay, this is so, I love this. I love that he does this, right? This is so something my mother would have done. And so he's like, well, I try to make it, like, about, like, history or, like, current things that are going on, but then, like, I'll tell the story of that person, but, like, kind of in ways, you know, for her to understand. And it was funny because, like, this was like at the beginning of January. I think we had this conversation, and I was like, well, what's the story you're telling right now? And he goes, well, we just finished up the story of Rosa Parks. And I go, oh. I said, okay. I said, how did that go? Did she, you know? And she goes, yeah. She goes, and he goes, it's important for me that, you know, she knows these, you know, historical figures. So then we came in like 2 weeks later, and whenever we went in there, it was like Martin Luther King Day was coming up. And I said, so who's the lesson now? Are you doing Martin Luther King? And he goes, no, we did Martin Luther King. We did Martin Luther King 6 months ago. And I was like, oh, okay, so what are you doing right now? And he goes, this is so cute. He said, she does this thing, and he goes, I don't even know how she rates us, but, like, I'll come in and she'll say, Daddy, you're in trouble, Mommy's winning. And I'll be like, what do you mean Mommy's winning? And she'll say, Mommy's story's better than yours, Mommy's winning. And I said, does Mommy do historical events as well? And he goes, no, Mommy doesn't do historical events. Mommy does fictional events, which is probably why Mommy is always winning. I go, yeah, but it's important what you're doing. I said, I think that's fantastic. I love that. He's such a neat guy. And I also, you know, like he tells us some things about his life, but not like everything. Like, he's so good with that, you know, and, I don't know, he's just like a genuinely just really decent human being. You know, it's so funny to me, like, when I look at admirable traits in people that I really respect, you know, I think people have a misconception about me sometimes. It's like, well, I sit on the floor of Trisha Paytas' apartment. I meet Trisha Paytas, so I'm like all obsessed with that kind of stuff. You know, it's just intriguing to me, you know, or like that all of like the money or this is important to me. And it's like, you know, really, like, I think as you get older, this is something that you really understand, I think. Don't get me wrong, you know, I mean, all of that stuff is nice. I mean, I would love to make $1 million a year and have $10 million stay in the bank and not have a whole lot to worry about, but that's just not my reality, you know? But I do okay, and we do okay, and, you know, I feel very blessed for, you know, our small little condo and our family and the fact that we get to eat and, you know, we have cars, and I mean, I feel very blessed about all that, you know, and healthcare and all of it. And the thing is that, like, as I look at people and, like, traits that I see in people that are really admirable to me, or as I, you know, I feel like we never really stop having role models. I don't think we should, no matter what age we are, you know? But when I look at my role models today, and it isn't defined by age, because I know people that are 20 years younger than me that I look up to as role models. But I have to say that one of the traits that I really respect is that the idea of somebody being just a really decent human being, you know? Just a really good-hearted person. Like, you know, no maliciousness in their body or their bones, you know, like, no ill intent. That's just really a decent, good human being, you know? That they're trying their best to do what's right. And, you know, it's not easy. I think, like, it's something that I've really tried to work on, you know, especially, like, in the last 6 months, I've really worked on just doing what I love, and this is not just on YouTube, this is in every area of my life, but, you know, doing what I love, and not being reactionary, and, like, staying in my own lane, and not really saying much about anything, you know, just, like, okay, like, taking things with stride, you know, and when I've had a bad day, you know, like processing that and calling my sponsor, or, you know, talking to Alex or Tanya about that, and, you know, really responding to things and sitting on them and not being reactionary. And, you know, I find myself reaching out to just like salt of the earth people, you know, like I feel very blessed in my life to have, like, the Tanyas, and I mean, of course, my husband, but, like, his family is just like that, you know, just really just decent, good people. And, you know, I think it's something that you can kind of sense right away from somebody. I don't know, it's just like, you know, it's like when I was sitting in Los Angeles with, like, Tia, you know, or, like, with Alex's friends the time before, and we were just laughing and having a good time. It's like that, you know, just, like, good, decent people. Or, you know, like, Mel and I talking on the phone and just laughing about books or something, you know, like, just no pretense, like, and I have so many friends of mine that are like that, you know? My sponsor's like that. She's fantastic, you know? It's just like no pretense whatsoever. Just like, this is who I am, and, you know. But I also think that a key ingredient to being a decent human being is being able to take a look at your mistakes and realizing your screw-ups and saying, you know, I'm not really proud of that behavior and I don't want to be that person, and I'm working on that, and I'm trying to be a better version of myself. And although that has been my mantra for a very, very long time, I will say in the last, 6 months to a year, like, it's been something I've really worked diligently on, and not just in correcting it, because you can't really, it's like, be something like my old sponsor used to always say that to me. He'd say, Peter, you often are like fixated on the spilt milk. Well, the milk is spilt, okay? Like, let's learn from it. And so to me, it's not so much about trying to fix the past as it is trying to learn from the past and not recreate it in the future, and being a different person. And, not really having to show anybody that you're a different person, because you're not like a zoo creature. You're not showing yourself off, you're doing it for who you are, and people will see that or they won't, and it doesn't really matter, it really, really doesn't matter. The camera fell. I thought I was going to make it all the way through without the camera falling. And now I don't even know, like, how much time I've vlogged. But, it doesn't really matter, like, if people see the change in you. That's just not really the point, is it? And I don't know, like, just some of my favorite people are just the salt of the earth people that they're not fancy, they're not pretentious, I love luxury stuff, I love all of that, I love a 5-star hotel and, a glammed out trip, and don't get me wrong, I love all that stuff, but it really doesn't matter. It just really, really doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It means absolutely nothing. It means nothing, and I think you take that all away, and it's like, who are you after all of that, Like, who are you? Like, we look at a lot of these YouTubers, right, and celebrities that drive this car or have this purse or, have this house or, whatever, and, we look at all of that, and it's like, okay, well, you have all of this. You have a house that we would dream to have, or, this life that we would dream to have. But when you strip that all away, who are you? Like, and that's not a question you have to answer to anybody. That's a question you have to answer to yourself, I think. And I've done a lot of soul searching, like, and I don't have the house, and I don't have the cars, and I don't have the luxury brand purses. I wish I did sometimes. But like, I've had to really, like, ask myself that question, like, recently, like, strip it all down. Who are you? And who do you want to be? And does that align? And I have to say that today, it aligns closer than it did 5 years ago, And I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to get to that exact spot that I want to get to. But at the same time, damn, it feels good that I'm like, the working on yourself is very similar to going to the gym and doing these exercises that to the rest of the world don't look difficult, but they're very, very painful, and they're very, very hard. And what you realize is you really are growing. You really are becoming stronger through it all, Script change. I spent about 2 hours tonight watching Booktube videos. Can I just talk about that for a second? I watch so many Booktube videos, and it's so addicting to me. Like, I sit there and I am watching them, and then, like, I go to watch the next one. Well, what happens is I have some favorite, like, Booktubers that, like, I won't have watched in a while. I kind of go through phases with Booktubers, like, honestly. Like, I go through a phase. I mean, I have my mainstays of people that I love. And then there are other people that I just get, like, I watch some of their videos, and then I get real bored of them, and, like, some of the people that, like, the people that I started watching, like, when I started watching Booktube, I watched, like, the huge Booktubers, and I don't watch them as much as I used to. I just don't. And, there was actually this kid, and, like, all these, like, I started all of a sudden, I don't know when this was. God, this was, like, probably a month ago. Oh my God, I was just telling my trainer about this today. I said there's this bar, and whenever I do this, like I drive by this strip mall, I said there's an Anytime Fitness right next to this bar. I said whenever I drive by it, there's people and they're working out. Okay, you guys, literally, it is 4:17 a.m. and I see 2 people and they're working out. Like, that is crazy. So anyway, but I like am. What was I talking about? Oh, Booktube. Okay. See how easily I get distracted. And then I was just like coming down on like in this little like exit from the strip mall, and it looked like a dump truck had like dumped all these rocks all over the road. So anyway, ooh, okay. But when I started on Booktube and I started watching Booktubers, like and I won't name them because I have said things in the past, but I literally in one video I said I just don't watch this person that much anymore, and you know, and they like left this huge comment. I didn't even know they knew who I was. I had no clue that they had any idea who I was, right? I didn't say, and I didn't tag them in the video or anything like that. I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say anything. I said, oh, I used to watch her videos all the time, and I just don't watch her videos as much as it was like a book tag question, and it was like, who's somebody that you used to watch that you don't watch anymore? And I said it, and I said, I love their, you know, their videos. I said, I just don't watch them as much as I used to. I said, you know, because it just kind of seems like they do the same thing a lot and whatever, and I get it, and they're huge and whatever, but like, you know, I still like them, but it was nothing critical whatsoever. Oh my God, they were not happy with it. And they left me this comment. I mean, sometimes Booktubers can be a little serious. And they left me this comment on my video, and they're like, I'm so sorry that I disappointed you. And if you don't want to watch my videos anymore, feel free that you don't have to watch. And I was like, okay, I think you took this a little overboard, settle down. But I just don't watch those, I just don't watch the same people I used to. I actually watch a lot of smaller YouTubers. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There was this guy, and he's like younger, and a lot of people are comparing, he has a huge following, and a lot of people are comparing him to me, and he's just like, so like, well, the thing is, they're like, he's like you if you were his age, and I feel kind of bad for this kid, honestly, because there's some truth to it. Like, I watch his videos, and I'm like, yeah, this was kind of me talking to my friends back in the day, but, but he's very smart, and he's kind of just like unapologetically himself, and I think that's kind of what I like about Booktube, you know, is like a lot of people are like that. So this is what happened. So I started watching Booktube tonight because, like on my Twitter, on my Peter Likes Books Twitter, somebody had tagged, I don't know if she watches my vlog or not, but Jennifer, hey Jennifer, she tagged she did my 5 books, 5 polls book tag. And so I wanted to see the video. So I got on YouTube and I started watching, I watched her video first, and then there was a second video that somebody had done my tag, and so I watched that one. I get so excited when I come up with my own original tag and somebody does it. Is that not so corny? But I love that. So anyway, I was watching those videos. Hers was so good. Like, oh my God. And the whole idea of the poll the tag video was, what are like themes? It feels like it's later out, honestly. Like, I mean, I know it's late, but it feels like it's a lot later out. But like, what are themes in the book that like stood out to you or really made you think? Like, what was a question that the book like posed to you? You know, like a scruples kind of question, and then ask that to your audience, and then you do like 5 polls. Jennifer's were so good, and like thought-provoking questions. I was like, I like this. Like, this is what I like, is like discussion about books, you know? So let's see, who else? What else? Yeah, so then I was in there and I was like watching Booktubers, and then I was like, I would watch like 4 videos, because they're never that long. Although I watched like I watched it on 2 times speed, but I watched like a 44-minute Booktube video tonight. I was like, oh my Lord. Who makes that 44-minute Booktube video? Oh. Who makes a 44-minute Booktube video? Well, Peter Monn, of course. So anyway, no, I don't. I don't think I have any 44-minute Booktube videos. I might. I shouldn't say that. If I say that, then they'll be like, yes, you do. On November 11th of 2016. So I don't know. I might have a 44-minute booktube video out there. I have no idea. And then I would jump to like the next person, and then like the next person, and then I was like, oh, I wonder what happened to this person, because I would like say something. But this is the danger in booktube videos, okay? Is that all it does is make me want to read books that I haven't read. Like, they start talking about books, and I'm like, oh, I want to read that book. Oh, yeah, I wanted to get that book. I want to read that book. I forgot about that book. All these people in 2018 did these huge like book unhauls, which is where you get rid of a bunch of books. I seriously need to do that. I have like books stuffed everywhere. I need to go through my main bookshelves, and I need to take out all the books that I don't want. And I need to take all the boxes that I have lined up in the basement, ready to go to half-price books and donation places. Because like there's some books in there that I'm gonna take to the library. And then there's some books that I'm going to take to half-price books. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe Goodwill. My thing with, like, books at Goodwill is, like... Okay, I love books, you guys. Like, books are your friends, okay? I have this weird relationship with books. When I go to Goodwill, I don't feel as if my friends are being taken care of very well. I don't know how to say it any more than that. I know that's corny, okay, like that, but it just makes me sad. Like, sometimes I sit there and I rearrange the books, right, at Goodwill. Because it's just like, there's books just like tossed on top of each other and thrown. I mean, it just makes me sad to sit there and look at the books. Not that I haven't gotten my fair share of books from the from the Goodwill, because I have. In fact, I went through this huge phase. I have so many of them. I should break these out. I'm gonna break these out this summer. I have so many of those, like, teenager books from, like, the 70s. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, the Diana Ho books that are, like, sorority row, and they're like this, and it's, like, a girl getting murdered on the front of it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, those horrible books from, like, the 70s. Well, I became kind of, like, obsessed with those, like, a year and a half ago, and I started buying, like, tons of them. Like, every time I would go to Goodwill, because that's where you could find them, was at Goodwill, right? You know, like the more mainstream versions of those would be, like, The Face on the Milk Carton. Which I have the whole series, but I haven't, like, I think I may have read the first one like years ago, but I don't know. The Lois Duncan books are kind of like that, and they're the best ones. They're like, they based I Know What You Did Last Summer on one, and a couple others. Like, her books are so great. So check those out if you haven't, but yeah. But then the library thing is, like, if you donate books there and they don't need them, then they, like, go to the library sale that they do, like, once a month. So if you guys have suggestions about good places to donate books, will you let me know in the comment section below? I would like to know, like, what you guys think about that. I've never seen the name of that place before, and I've driven by there a million times. It's not funny. Did you guys do that stuff? So yeah, I watched a ton. I watched like 2 hours of Booktube videos tonight. It was fun. It feels like family, kind of. Like, I don't even know those people, and I know most of them don't even know me, you know, but... Although, like, booktubers don't post a lot. Like, they'll post, like, one video a week, maybe. Like, it's interesting, like, you know, often people will say to me, like, you haven't posted on your booktube video, or your booktube channel a lot, because when I started doing booktube, I mean, of course I posted every day. I mean, that's kind of my gig, right? But there were days on Booktube that I would post two videos a day. I loved it so much, right? And so I actually already have, I found a book tag that I'm going to do tomorrow. I think it's called the Over 30 book tag is what it's called, something like that. So I watched like one video of it. I think I'm going to do that. But anyway, and it was by like a booktuber I'd never heard before. So it was just in my recommended. But when I first started doing Booktube, you know, I was posting every day, sometimes twice a day. But that's kind of unheard of on Booktube. Like, people like Max, most people, will post like 3 times a week. So to post every day is a lot. There's just really not a lot of people that do that. And there's a few, but just not tons. And I will say this, though, it's interesting, like, my book, okay, so my videos over there, I've kind of changed up the titles a little bit, like, I haven't gone back and changed the titles, but, like, going forward, like, I did a review of In Cold Blood, but if I called the video, people seem to like it the same, because I don't get, like, tons and tons of, you know, criticism on it, and people seem to like it, and I get a lot of likes on them, but, like, if I called that book, In Cold Blood, a review, it wouldn't get any views on it, okay? So instead I called it, This Was a Really Bad Book, or something like that, and it, like, got good views on it. I mean, for that channel, it got good views, and so I think that people, and then people come and they're like, oh my god, I love your videos, and so I think that for people to want to watch the videos, I can't just be like, you know, In Cold Blood review, you know what I mean? Booktube update, things like, or book club update, like things like that. And I get it. I don't know that I would want to watch a video just about that. You know, I'm more likely to watch a video if somebody called it, like, the very best book I ever read, than if somebody called it, you know, like, 50 Shades of Grey review, because I can tell you I wouldn't watch that one. I don't know. It would kind of depend on who put it out, actually. I might watch it if it was somebody funny, you know? There's these two girls on YouTube. I need to look up their channel. I haven't looked them up in a while. They're called The Restricted Section. And back in the day, I'm going to pull in here in a second when I get up here. If I don't end this before, then I'm going to look and see if they're still around. I haven't seen a video of theirs in forever. Like, okay, Books and Lala and Connor O'Brien are, like, my two go-tos. Like, I watch every video they put out. And I've watched them from, like, the very, very beginning. And there's a couple other people, like Richard. I watch pretty much everything that he puts out. And Dylan, just because, like, I kind of know him a little bit. And I love his passion about it. I think it's really inspiring. Who's the other one? Oh my god, why can't I think of her name? She's a little bit older. I don't know, I just love the Booktube community. It's so much fun. So anyway, there was these two girls back in the day, and their channel is called The Restricted Section. And they would do... I feel like they have been around for a while, because I did this tag, and I tagged them in it, and then they did the tag, because it was like you had a tag, like, you know, like, who's the OG of Booktube, who's your big sister of YouTube and whatever, or of Booktube and stuff. And it was called the Booktuber tag, and they did it. So that wasn't too long ago, and they were in it. But they, like, drink beer and, like, review books, and it's hilarious. And, like, whenever they do a readathon, they always pick, like, the worst books in the entire world. Like, when you're sitting there and you're watching their TBR, it's like, okay, these books are so bad. Like, there's no way. And then they, like, give them these, like, really serious reviews, but they're kind of, like, so cynical and so sarcastically funny. I love them. They're hilarious. And they play off of each other so well. And, so, like, every video, like, I'm not a drinker, so I could care less, but it's interesting, you know, and if you are a drinker, then maybe you'd enjoy this. But they try a different kind of beer. So, like, they'll, you know, one video, it'll be, like, called, like, Witch's Brew Pale Ale, and they'll both be trying it. So, like, through the video, they're talking about, like, what they think of the beer, too. And, it's genius. It's a genius idea. Oh, who's a married couple? Well, I don't know if they're married. It's, like, Leather and Lace or something, and they're, like... I love them. Their videos are so good. Shoot, I can't think of what their channel name is now. I'm so bad, you guys, with these channel names for Booktube. The thing is, like, I'll either know somebody by their first name, but I don't know. Like I know Kayla from Books and Lala, but, like, forever I called her just Lala. But, like, often, like, it's not like with Connor and Connor O'Brien, it's not like, you know, I mean, that obviously that's his name, because that's his channel name, but it's not typically like that. Like, somebody's channel will be called, like, and Booktube, it's real flowery over there, okay? I mean, sometimes people's channel names are, like, a bird among the ashes or something like that, you know, or like, I don't want to take somebody's name and say something about it and then everybody will go to them, so I've got to, like, you know, I don't know, but it'll be like a book's dystopian, utopian, I love the world ever after or something, you know, and then it's like, but then I don't know their name. You know what I mean? Like, I watch their videos, and then a lot of times they don't even say their name in the video, and I'll have, like, known it, like, one time, but after that, like, I don't, you know? I was just, like, in my head, and I was thinking about this booktuber that I used to watch, and that's the other thing that happens with Booktube. It's like, you'll watch somebody for a long time, and then just, like, boom, all of a sudden, they just stop making videos. There was this guy, his name was Max, and his name was something Reads. Well Reads, or something like that, I can't remember. I loved his videos. I absolutely loved his videos. He just, like, literally stopped one day. He said, he didn't even, like, say, I'm not doing this anymore or whatever. And I think he, like, posts on, like, Instagram more and stuff like that. But I really liked his videos. And they just... He would do, like, the Man Booker Award and things like that. I mean, he did, like, really important books. And, he was, like, in college. The thing is that a lot of these people, like, they graduate from college, and then, of course, they, like, they get jobs, and, like, they stop doing Booktube, you know? I don't know, it makes me kind of sad. Because for me, I'm kind of, like, at this certain point in my age anyway, you know? It's not like I'm having these huge milestones that are going to, like, change whether or not I do, you know, Booktube or YouTube, you know what I mean? I have a feeling I have vlogged for a lot longer tonight than I thought. But I think I might call this vlog a really short vlog. Oh my god. And you know, you'll get the one person that says, you said this was going to be a really short vlog, but this is not a short vlog. I know, it's a joke. The restricted section. Yeah, here they are. What? I was like, why can't I find their channel? They only have 2.5 thousand. Oh, they posted yesterday. 4 days ago. Broads with beer. Why we don't like true crime. Oh my lord, I have to watch this video. I am coming. Oh, they did the over 30 book tag. Yeah, they're still posting actively. 2 weeks ago, a month ago. Personal goals. Do I have that book tag? I love them. They need more subscribers. They're so fantastic. Why does it say Spine Breakers? Did they change their name? Oh, I guess they're called Spine Breakers now. They're not called the restricted section. Now I want to know why they hate true crime. I'm so upset. Broads with beer. Why does Booktube hate? What's the name of this video? Hate Patreon. Does Booktube hate Patreon? I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now and go home and go to sleep. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to do tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the meeting tomorrow night since Tanya's out of town, and it's my sister-in-law's birthday tomorrow. It's Liliana's birthday, so everybody, if you made it this far in the video, say happy birthday, Liliana. If you don't know how to spell Liliana, just say Lily. Happy birthday, Lily. Or put some kind of birthday emoji for her, like the birthday cake, or the balloon, or something like that. And that's only if you made it this far, because then you'll know. And if you don't know, what you don't know is a lot. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Oh my god, it's gonna stop. Hold on a second. I didn't realize I was at the very end, and I have to put my ending in here. So, if nobody's told you this today, I love you. And, you know, it's funny, I've talked a lot about that on here recently when I say that, and it's because I got this very nice comment. I don't know who it was from, and I'll have to go back in there and look. So if it was you, please say underneath here, that was me that said that. But somebody said, I don't hear that from anybody ever, and it's something that a friend of mine always says when I see her. And it's the same friend of mine that says, that, you know, like, have an amazing day unless you have other plans. Basically saying, like, you have control over what your day is going to be like, you know. And she always has such a great attitude. And I can tell you that this is a woman that has had a lot of really just crap stuff thrown at her in her life. She hasn't had an easy life. And through it all, I mean, this is a woman that has, like, 40 plus years of sobriety. And she is just absolutely phenomenal. And had always positive attitude, no matter what, you know? To talk about the stuff that's going on in her life. And if I shared it with you, you'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like Lifetime movie stuff she's gone through. And, you know, you hear, like, she talks about it and she tells her story and whatever, you know? And then, you know, if you say to her, like, well, I'm so sorry you know, what you're going through, she'll say, don't feel sorry for me, you know? Like, I'm getting through it, I'm trudging, I'm learning things, and you know, this is all part of life. It's all part of life. And she's so wise, and she always says those two things to me. But I got when I say it on here, I got a comment from somebody, and it meant so much to me when they said it, because I know there are people out there that are watching my videos, that are watching my vlogs, that don't interact with anybody, that don't have any friends, that don't see people. And I didn't really understand that until I said it. I talked about friendship on one of my Peterisms videos, and I got an overwhelming amount of comments from people that said, I don't have any friends, I don't have anybody, I go to work and I come home and it's me and my cat, or, you know, me and my dog, and I don't really have any interactions with my family. And it's something that I think I take for granted, honestly, because even though I'm not a person that has 300 friends around me at any given time, and it's not about a quantity today, it's about a quality to me today, I do feel very blessed that I have a family that I'm part of, in-laws that I'm part of, and, you know, immediate family that I'm close with. And I do feel very blessed that I have a few friends in my life. And my one friend, that Tanya, you know, and Valerie and stuff, but also, like, I have a very, very dear friend of mine that she watches my vlogs every day, and she texts me and she's like, I'm watching your vlog and this, and I love her dearly. And, you know, like, I feel very blessed. I have several sober friends that I talk to on a daily basis, and my dogs and my husband, you know. And it's like, life can be really lonely. And if you're somebody out there that hasn't thought about the fact that there are people, like I hadn't thought about it, you know, that there are people out there that literally have nobody, you know. What I learned from that was to be grateful for the circumstance that I'm in for the day, and to hug my husband a little closer, and to tell my best friend I love her more often, and, you know, to try to be a better friend to people in my life. And I'm not always that, but I'm trying to be, you know, and to really take that as a learning experience. And that's why I say it on here, because I do want everybody to hear that. I think everybody deserves to hear that every day of their life from somebody. I feel very blessed to have grown up in an environment from my mother and my father and my stepmother, who were all very affectionate and told me that they loved me on a daily basis. And I think to some degree, it's what got me through the bullying. It's what got me through the hard times, because I knew that I had that, you know? So with that being said, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you sincerely. And I love the fact that you are willing to come over here and watch and spend time with me every day. It means the world to me. And thank you for allowing me in your life. I think it means more than people really have any idea, honestly. And I don't know why that got me a little emotional there for a second, but I hope you're having an amazing day, unless you have other plans, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.